think what I learned from that conversation that it had not occurred to me before was you can actually find the investor and then find the deal, right? I thought it was our job to go search for deals and then go present those to investors. But I think the deeper I get into this, the more I start seeing how Joel's working, you're working, other people are working. Dude, all the roads are open, right? You get to choose your own journey. What's up, Boutique Hotel Nation? Welcome back in for another episode of the unofficial Boutique Hotel Secrets podcast. I'm your host, Adam Walz. And on this show, we like to, spill the tea, share the sauce, have a good time. All the education for people making the hop from short-term rentals over to the world of commercial hospitality. Thankfully, it's not just me. I want to welcome in Micah Thomas, my mister from another sister. How you doing, Micah?
Another day in paradise for me. We're just chugging along. We got things to do. I think I've tortured you last week and this week with demos, so I'd love to talk more about that at some point. But otherwise, I'm doing good. How are you doing?
Dude, it's a lot. Again, we're trying to raise money. We're about 30 days out from closing. Hopefully, the government turns back on. I don't know if you've tried to unplug it and reboot the router, but the government seems to not be functioning correctly right now. And yeah, we've done a bunch of demos, and I was just showing Isaac this here a second. I don't know, Micah, are you a fan of early Christmas? Are you okay
Oh
with this?
God, nothing before December 1. Let me enjoy
Okay.
Thanksgiving first.
It's a hard line. Well, let's bring in Mr. Isaac so he can weigh in. So Isaac Oswalt, one of the coaches here at BHS, he's got some thoughts and opinions about capital raising, deal structure, construction. But let's start with the important things like early
hmm
Christmas. Is it okay to be advertising and into it in November?
Well, 100%. Thanks for having me back, boys. Appreciate it. Oh, I'm all in. I know Thanksgiving's there, but and then
Oh my
living where
God.
I live, you kind of got to get your stuff out there a little earlier in the weather, and I think I might have missed a window. It's getting a little cool here,
Oh my gosh.
but no, I'm good. This is my favorite season. This is why else would I live in Michigan if I didn't want to experience some of the winter for Christmas and stuff like
Yeah.
that? Even though the first quarter of every year I can do without that, but yeah, I'm good on early Christmas.
And are you guys okay with the? I mean, the time zone change just happened. This is where I get really jealous about Arizona not changing the clocks. But Micah, did you survive okay? Do you feel like you get to fall back and enjoy an extra hour, or was that
Right
not a
now,
thing in your world?
no, it's not a thing. I still wake up early and I'm struggling. It gets dark at like 3:30 p.m.
Yeah.
It's not a good time. Not a good time, but like everything else, I'll persist through and before you know it, it'll be warm and sunny again and I'll love it.
I love it. Well, yeah, go.
This is the period where when it's so much darker, you're just like, oh, we're in it now.
Yeah.
We're getting it
That's
winter now.
exactly right. Just suffrage. That's what
Batman.
it feels like. Just suffrage.
Universal suffrage right there. I'm pretty sure that's what that means. I'm excited because I get to see you boys again, like in person, in the flesh. It will probably be dark and cold, but with it in Beverly, Massachusetts, coming up in I think 2 weekends. So I thought maybe we could kick off today's show talking a little bit about BHS's next event. And I want to say this is one of the first events at Mike Sjogren's new facility. So 10,000 square feet, I'm told, pickleball court. I'm told, podcast studio. We can't wait to get together with the BHS gang, kind of old friends, new friends, to learn, to network, to just enjoy each other's company. But just wanted to throw it over to you guys. What are you looking forward to? Micah, you're going to be a participant with me. And Isaac, I know you've been kind of on the planning sides of things as well. So just
Yep.
love to kind of see where you're at, kind of on your energy and excitement for an event like this.
Yeah, very excited. It'll be event number one is actually coming up next weekend. Wait, this weekend, which is will be the STR secret. So more on the short-term rental
Uh,
property management side of it. Okay, so that is an event this weekend, and so been talking to a fair amount of people getting ready for that for sure. And then our event will be the weekend following, as you said. I'm excited about. We put the coaches got together. We've been on a handful of calls and kind of framing out what we're doing, and it'll be obviously very educational, but then it's going to get in a very healthy way, extremely real of practicality of actually going through and tackling a set deal, working and putting together this project, and actually a true kind of capstone, fast furious capstone project on, do you like this deal? What, show me the deal, and go and all the way to pitching it. So
Ooh,
I
you
love
ready for
that.
that, Micah?
I mean, I love it. I mean, it's what we have done, I mean, for months before we found our first deal together. So that makes me really excited. I'm really excited to be able to go to this facility. Like you said, it's 10,000 square feet. It feels like a mini conference. So instead of going to something where there's 10,000, 4,000, 3,000 people, we're going to something that's a little bit more intimate, but you get that same experience where, like you said, it's a capstone. So you're learning so much. You're able to network. You're able to just make yourself a better person, put yourself in a room with people who are like-minded and want to have the same success that you have. So to me, that's great. I'm a little bit nervous. I don't know how well I'll do with like finding a deal, pitching a deal in less than like 36 hours, but I'm excited. That sounds like a
well,
great
you're not even
time.
gonna have that much time. Don't worry about
Oh
it.
Like you got
God.
36
He's
minutes,
like, yeah,
bro.
you got 2 hours,
I don't,
go.
just understand some of this is going to be curated in some kind of way, but it's like there's, with WealthCon, we talk through different elements, phases, and stuff like that. We'll do a little bit of that and go in some niche stuff. But like, how do you learn? You learn by doing, and you learn by
Yes.
getting in the seat and going. And so we wanted to create that environment. It's an intimate group of people. No one's going to be able to hide in a very healthy way, right? And it'll be very fun.
That's great. Well, that was some of my favorite projects ever. So again, before getting into hotels or short-term rentals, I was in the leadership development world for primarily Fortune 500 companies. So PDI and Korn Ferry, consulting to places like Johnson and Johnson, again, I was out in Asia for a while, and some of my favorite programs of all time were simulation based, right? Let's
Hmm.
take something that's like real life, or even, again, almost like a case study, but let's put together a diverse group of people and let's let them cook on it, right? And see what they see, give them some prompts, give them tools, give them some frameworks, and then have them think together, right? And invariably you're going to learn, right? So if Mike is looking at this in a vacuum versus Adam versus Isaac, we're just going to see different things and bring different
100%.
perspectives to the table. But so I'm excited already just hearing this format. I know it works very well, so I can't wait to see what you guys have. And yeah, let's see, Mike, if we if we can keep our A player status, or if we slip down the podium here in the student ranks.
Yeah, that's amazing. I'm loving that. I'm just looking forward to it. This is the first time I'm hearing about it, so just that just gets me pumped. I mean, less than 2 weeks away, and already knowing that that's what we're walking into makes me feel like I need to do a little bit of homework before I come, but definitely looking forward to the experience. I want to transition a little bit. Last Friday, we took a call. It was with a potential investor, and the call went great. I would love to hear both of your opinions on the call. You guys were both on the call, but before I switch it over to you guys, I just wanted to lead by saying we, at this point, have gone through our pitch deck and changed things more than 20 times. We've iterated and refined our approach and our delivery, and we're able to talk about our deal with such strength that we don't even have to look at a pitch deck. We know all numbers, all figures, pretty much like the back of our hands, and we can speak with such confidence, which if you would have told me to do that on our first time with our first pitch deck, it wouldn't have happened. So I'm really excited to talk about this because I felt like we did such a good job. I left the call really pumped. I think you did too, as well, Adam. And it just goes to show you how much work we've put into what we're doing and the success we're having. So, wanted to turn it over to you. Doesn't matter who answers first, but just wanted to hear your thoughts on our call last week and how we were able to secure an investor and move forward. So, take it away.
Yeah, well, yeah, I can go first, and then I want to hear Isaac's thoughts. But it reminds me of there's a great quote by Mark Twain where he's got this long lost pen pal and he's exchanging letters, and he said, apologies for writing you such a long letter. I didn't have time to make it shorter. And it kind of reminds me of this, right? Like when we first started, Micah, we had 72 slides,
Yeah,
like you just
yeah,
don't know what's important. And so I think as kind of rookie investors or rookie pitchers, you include everything, right? And then Or was it, the Da Vinci carving, his famous statues? Like, well, everything that wasn't the statue, I got rid of, right? Same idea here, right? We're winnowing it down, we're tightening our message. And I think now that we've, pitched to 20 plus people, it's like, okay, we're starting to kind of get a rhythm for what questions do they have? How much storytelling do we balance with maybe facts and data? And I think it's always just remembering that it's not about you. Things that are interesting to me and you are maybe not interesting or important to that investor. So how can you quickly learn about who's in front of you and then tailor your message? So I feel like that's something that I've seen us, go from probably average or below average to, again, we're trending in a very positive direction. So I think our deck is shorter, our punchlines are tighter, and we're able to ask a few questions up front to understand, do they want to double click here? You got it. Should we keep rolling? So I thought from like a time management standpoint and an energy management standpoint, I felt like, again, this was one of the best presentations that we've had. Isaac, let me flip it over to you, man. What did you see? What are you noticing? And, from our deals or other deals about people trying to raise capital and kind of the do's and don'ts.
Yeah. Congratulations, guys. That went well, and I mean, you've already raised a fair amount of capital, which is great. You're well on your way, but that was a really good, um, it was a really, really solid experience of starting off with, hey, we've got a lot we can share with you, but like, let's curate to this you. What matters to you? How do you care about this stuff? And I usually try to think about it whenever I'm talking about this, and you're remaining purely authentic, but you're trying to deliver the information that makes sense to them in the way that they digest the information. And I think you did a very good job doing that. When you expanded on things, like she was certainly very interested, which is great. Some people might not need you to be expanded. There's some people that'll make decisions pretty quickly based on that stuff, right? But again, let's go back to real estate, right? It's okay. Do I like the market? Do I understand the market? Is that the right place? Okay. Do I like the asset in the market? Okay. Is there juice there? Does it? Oh yeah, it's dramatically underachieving for sure. If they put a little love and energy and effort into it and some focus, it should be worth a lot more. Okay, cool. And third, do I believe in the team who does it? And you guys come across that you're very passionate about it, even without even saying it, and you know your stuff, and most importantly, you're able to speak through with authenticity without being able to like detract from yourself. Is like, look, I have a team. Like I have a team, and there's plenty of people out there that have posted up there, hey, we've done $300 million worth of deals. Well, they didn't do all 300 million most of the time themselves, only 100% of the GP. Blah, blah. No, like they're aggregating from different people and that kind of stuff. So. Yeah. To me, it's like obviously you're listening to them, and just as if you can get into a conversational tone, that's fantastic. You're like trying to take the information, all the information that you have, and pull out the right chunks that are meaningful to them. And you can always follow up if there's other questions and stuff like that. And remaining authentic and the authentic part of you. And then, like at the end of the day, as you do this more, you get in the flow and you understand it and you understand the project, that energy comes out, and you are now like, you're going to shift into the position to be like, I can probably, I'm going to be selective on who I want in now. And when you come with that energy, it's a different game versus, when you start off, you're just like, holy cow, this is like desperation. Like, I can't believe someone would do that kind of stuff. But all the reps are giving you familiarity and giving you a smoothness to it, and you're navigating the conversation well with the content behind you.
I love that. And I wanted to highlight a specific point because, like you said, when we first started, you couldn't tell me that I wasn't asking people for money. It felt like I was strictly asking for money to help me with my project. Like, Mom, could I get $100 so we can go get a boutique hotel? But that's actually not what it is. And with more repetitions, we learned quickly that this is like a very laid back interview. We want to make sure not only the investor is right, or we're right for the investor, but the investor is right for us as well. And with that being said, we've had to say no to some investors because it's just not a right fit. And the last thing you want is to partner with an investor for 5, 7, 10 years, however long it is, and they end up just making the project such a headache and a nightmare. So as much as we
Sure.
want to accept all money that comes our way, all money isn't necessarily good money, especially for your particular deal. So I just really wanted to highlight that. And now I couldn't think further away from the thought that we're not asking for money. We're presenting an opportunity, and if this opportunity makes sense to a certain investor, they'll be willing to get on board. So that reigns supreme and kind of really it sparks a fuse in my head because a short-term rental investor or a co-host operator, whatever it may be in that short-term rental space, they may be thinking, I would love to get in boutique hotels, but there's no way I can just ask people for such and such amount of money. It's just too much. I've never done it before. But I think a big part is just changing your way of how you look at raising capital, and then also understanding that if that's not something you're good at, you can always partner with somebody who is good with that. So with that being said, Isaac, I want to throw it back to you and hear your thought process, how you've been able to navigate, especially in some of the larger deals, what it looks like to raise such a large amount of money, and then how you can develop relationships and partner with people so that you can get these larger multi-million dollar deals across the finish line.
You know, it comes down to my belief and emotions around the deal, regardless of the number size, right?
Hmm.
So if it's a good deal, a good team, good location, and that kind of stuff, do you start maybe approaching different facilities that you wouldn't particularly if it's a bigger number or smaller number for sure, and that kind of stuff. But the economics of the deal we're talking about, you still get in the cost of the deal, and that number can be daunting, and that's kind of stuff like that. But if the return justifies it, and it looks like it's a pretty protected place to put capital, then the thesis is the same. So I think it's just truly approaching the mindset stuff. Now, does it take time and creativity and creating inroads to develop the relationships and stuff like that? I think Micah, you let me mention a little bit that I was in Chicago last week talking to a few people that manage funds and that kind of stuff. And even if they don't have a fund open, they're still always building relationships and nurturing and talking about capital raising or getting the fuel on the next one and that kind of stuff. So the answer is this is not if you're going to do this well over the course of time, this is not a transactional part of the business, right? Your appraiser is a transactional part of the business. The relationships between debt and equity is a continuous energy effort that is rewarded with high emotional intelligence, authenticity, and protection and communication. And then, for me, it comes down to like, how much do I believe in the deal? Because if I don't believe in the deal as much, I can't fake it. I won't do it. It doesn't feel right. Like this and that kind of stuff. So if there's whether it's your own mindset of like, I haven't done this before, or you just go back to the deal, it is not all you. Is it a good deal? Okay. Well, what doesn't make it a good deal? Well, I don't know if I can do that. Well, do you have someone that can help you do that knows how to do that? Well, then layer that into the deal. Maybe you take a little less, but solve for the deal and the team to where you feel great about it, and then then your brain will open up and your emotions will open up to be able to talk to people and talk about and really, hey, I know you got to place capital somewhere. I know you're doing it in the stock market, whatever. Like, here's a home for some of it. Like, not a bad play. Otherwise, it sits in the bank. Like, like just it's so that thesis. But then it is a continuous effort for sure of nurturing those relationships, nurturing those people as contacts, and one leads to another, can lead to several more, and it's just developing that brand of yourself and the entity.
Well, and that's something that excites me personally about the boutique hotel space too, versus other asset classes in all of real estate, or if we just tier down to commercial only, is again, right now it kind of feels like the cool kid. And number two, you can consume it. You can go there with your friends and family. And
Hmm.
because it's actually multiple revenue streams, it's not just real estate, it's a business, it's a hospitality business on top. So, this is
Hmm.
what, again, can throw you from 14%, 16%, 18% IRRs to 20 plus percent.
Hmm.
And again, you get to use it. And I don't know, there's something about pride of ownership. again, we talked to a big investor 2 weeks ago who's, again, into water parks, let's say. Our deal's in the desert, so maybe not a great fit, but it's interesting to kind of meet with this guy and understand is buy box what he's looking for, if we'd be a good fit. So it doesn't sound like we're a good fit immediately, but we're building these relationships over time. But I remember at one point he had asked the question, would you guys be open to going back to flagged? I know you guys are super keen on boutique, and that's interesting and cool, but I've got some big money behind me that really likes flagged. And, I remember Micah, I mean, when we left that call, we kind of had a little debrief. It's like, I just don't know if my heart's in it, to to go out there and raise capital for a Radisson Inn
Yeah.
or name that placeholder, beige boxes. So I feel like part of my passion and enthusiasm for the deal is also what makes this asset class really special. And I hope there's going to be more Adams and Micahs and Isaacs coming in behind us who can feel this, who have already felt this and lived this on the short-term rental side, who can now bring this energy into the boutique hotel space.
Well, it is. That's very well said. That's very, again, that's why I'm like, kudos to you guys. And I've said what I've said is like, you've done the work, you've tried, you've put something together, you've reworked it, you put in the energy, you've learned, and I can coach you, but I cannot like give you your own voice. I can't give you your own authenticity. I can't give you your own lane. Like you kind of have to go through it and self-select of like this is where I'm at, and this is what I feel comfortable about it. And to your point, you know, if that did happen or if that was going to happen and someone comes in and you already have talked to investors about plan A and plan B is going to be with it because of a check, like that doesn't feel right either, right? So just getting like really specific on that is, and that energy comes across for sure. And to your point, back to like those who are experienced in the STR space and the intent to deliver a high quality experience. I mean, that is like that's the game in boutique hotels. Now, is there different things to adjustments and how you operate and how you put stuff together for sure? But the essence of having a five-star portfolio, so to speak, on the STR side and what you do to meet the human desires that are coming there, it's the same thing over here. It's just a different mousetrap to get there.
Yeah, yeah. And I'm sure Micah wants to weigh in as well, but I think it also, these conversations as well, because it's almost like the bigger the money source or the more institutional it is, the more they're open to just, again, 12, 14%, or again, flagged actually looks more attractive, more urban looks. Micah, all the reasons why our lenders said no to our deal, right? It's negative cash flowing, tertiary market, it's hospitality. We got burned in COVID, and you're independent, right? Like all those reasons that make it kind of cool, make it dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
And but I think what I learned from that conversation that it had not occurred to me before was you can actually find the investor and then find the deal, right? I thought it was our job to go search for deals and then go present those to investors. And I think that makes a lot of sense. And that's one way to do it. But I think the deeper I get into this, the more I start seeing how Joel's working, you're working, other people are working. Dude, all the roads are open, right? You get to choose your own journey. And yeah, while this project doesn't make sense for flag, yeah, it's gonna be kind of hard to cram a water park into this one. You know what? If we build a relationship and understand their desires, their needs, their goals, their risk tolerance, we can probably reverse engineer a solution. And at the end of the day, I've heard people in sales, sales is not, yeah, it feels kind of like I'm a used car salesman if you approach it from that old school mentality, but sales is nothing more than creative problem solving, right? So
100%, 100%. But like, you doing your first one here, stand up, fantastic experience, soup to nuts, undeniable. You're going to learn much more than any other way of really doing it. Okay. But like for any kind of instance conversations, it's like, as you guys are taking care of like, whether it's called CRM or like investor relation manager, like these are the things like, okay, well, if I do find something as I'm on this deal, if I find something that's a water feature, like I've already got that contact, I've already
yes,
communicated with them a little time, you know, the big money needs feet on the street. right? There is not a shortage of capital in this country, right? It's like, can I get what I want to do implemented correctly from the team and that stuff? So building those inroads cool, and it could lead to deal three. And again, like I've shared with you guys, like just, regardless of dollar signs or the size of money and stuff like that, they all have a unique way of looking at how they invest their money. It's
Mhm.
extremely emotional.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, just to piggyback on both of what both of you have said. First thing, Adam, how many banks have we talked to that we've basically agreed deal one, maybe not so much, but deal two feels like a great fit because the relationship is developed. They see our
Yes.
drive, our commitment. Excuse me. They just need a little bit of proof of concept, and then they will be pretty much fully backing us for the second go round. So that's the first thing. The second thing I wanted to mention is just the level of integrity you have to keep and the relationships you have to maintain because some of these people we may touch base a year, 2 years prior to when we actually work with them, but they want to follow your journey. They want to see how well you're doing. And I agree. It's so much easier to raise money before you have a deal. It's so much easier to have a banker or a few banks you can go to before you find the actual deal. It probably relieves a bunch of stress that you don't have to go through. But unfortunately, it's just kind of not the world that me and you, or the reality that me and you had, Adam. But just knowing that moving forward, it's an ongoing thing. We need to continue to develop relationships, network. Whether we're actively searching for a deal, we're, so to speak, always actively looking for a deal, and we're always raising capital because while today may not be the best time, 6 months from now, we would love to reach back out to that person who still wants to deploy that capital, or that bank that would still love to dive into the boutique hotel space and finance our deal. So I think the power of relationships and getting around people who are like-minded, who can share their relationships with their banks and their capital partners and so on and so forth, it really speaks volumes, and it can get you a lot of success in this world.
Yeah, man. And I mean, right now, up to this point, it's like, they've needed rubber gloves to pull all the information out of us, up to this point, man. Like it's a painful process, on your first go round. And I feel like I don't know, maybe there's a cool visual out there somewhere, but it feels like there's this strong correlation to how much money do you need and how long have you nurtured that relationship, right? And the longer that relationship exists, I think more money becomes available to you. But this is where I suspect lots of people get in trouble is, again, they find a deal, they don't even think about raising capital until, they're 30 days out, and they've never done it before. And there's probably lots of deals that fall, that look good. They start to raise some capital, get some energy, and then run out of momentum. And I think the fact that, again, I'm not going back and getting a full-time job. You're looking to exit your job. Like we are investing our time, attention, and energy. We've surrounded ourselves with a community of operators. So, again, I like our probability for success here, but it is interesting kind of noticing that correlation between, okay, you need 50K, 100K, maybe you can get that over a month or two from individual investors, but all of a sudden you need $1 million, you need 10 million, you need 1 billion. That's not a conversation you have, one or two cocktails with, that is a multi-year conversation. And so I love that, again, 2025, we're starting to be very visible about and transparent about our own lessons learned, as we go from 0 hotels to 1. But a couple years from now, man, when we get a second hotel, a third hotel, again, I, I just think the game gets easier, and we'll probably find that ecosystem, right, of other investors, other operators, the team members required. Isaac, you'd asked the question, before we even hit record, if you just had all the money, if all the equity was raised to, from the beginning, if that was somebody's job, how much time do you think that would have saved? And I'd be embarrassed, I mean, to kind of count it up, to think about how many hours I've spent building decks and revising documents and going through the CRM and reaching out to people. I mean, right now it feels like that is my full-time job. So I think when lenders get on board, when, capital partners get on board, I think all of a sudden this thing starts to get really fun, at hotel 2, 3, and where I think we're seeing Mike Sjogren, like hotel 4, right? At this point, there's less sweat and anxiety and could this, will this, should this, to like, no, 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 no. This is happening. This is our hotel. And now what do we want to create? And I
Yeah.
love that that I don't know, there's just an energy and mindset shift that I think happens. But I got to believe a lot of people die off and just don't even make it to one. So this is a treacherous path. I feel like we're doing a good job, but I am excited to get over this hump. And
It's
I'm excited every day to be meeting people that might be able to help us in year 2, 3, 4, 5. And hopefully we can pay it back, just like, Isaac's doing today.
Yeah, I think that's a really solid mindset. And we approached it as like this is a long-term strategy for us to do many of these hotels and create our own ecosystem, own brand, or whatever you would want to do with it, and how what that vision creates, and hyper focus. Some people believe in Plan B and Plan C. It's like it's really good to go with Plan A and just make it work, right?
Yeah.
But as you go through this, yes, you do get you will get momentum. You'll be looked at with how okay, how well do you communicate? And most importantly, if something isn't going well, how well do you communicate that, right? It is scientifically proven that we trust people more after they've made a mistake and they've corrected it in a great way than someone that has never made a mistake because we know it's inherent. We know something's going to happen, that kind of stuff. So, and then the game is, and then the game shifts from you got the engine and this stuff, and then the game shifts to discipline because you've got the momentum, you've got this stuff like that. Now it's being extremely disciplined and keeping your head level headed that you just can't do everything all the time. Like you just continue to keep that buy box super tight, super protected, and then you get to do it for a very long time.
I love that. I love that. And that's like you said, you get to 10,000 hours, that's when you really master something. And as you do it longer, for more time, more deals, you get not only the discipline but the experience, and you can do it a lot easier, and you can delegate, and you know how all the parts fit into one another. So I'm excited to get to hotel number one and even further past that, as we get better and better every single time. So want to be respectful of your time, Isaac, but I also want to ask, after this podcast, do you have any suggestions, or people still, kind of sitting on the sideline wanting to get into the boutique hotel space? What would you tell them?
Oh, specifically, it's a great business, and it's something that if you believe you have an interest and passion for, kudos to you because there's an open market there for be able to create an impact and do well in the process. It's certainly not something to be taken lightly. It requires focus, dedicated effort. It's something that you want to really go, certainly go all in, and from emotional focus driving for it. Um, I like this kind of stuff because it's the ultimate team game. Sure, you have leaders, but it's the synergy between the team stuff. And then I would recommend to have support and build out the team and just have support from people that have been there, done that, and maybe not maybe, but definitely, deal one comes with a lot more clarity and like bumpers in the bowling lane than it does when you do it yourself, kind of thing. Of just stay on course and that kind of stuff. The more, especially commercial real estate and stuff, like the more you get into some of these things that are bigger, that are kind of just harder to spin up out of your own garage or office with a laptop, the more I thoroughly believe in having a team and partners who've been there, done that before, and knowing that maybe that does take a little bit of your share, or however you structure with that, it could take a little bit of your upside on deal one. But doing this business and doing it well is unique. Therefore, you get one or two really going, you can do this for the rest of your life, and if and whenever you want to do it. And if that's interesting to you, it's certainly a very advantageous category.
Ooh, I love that. Well, I mean, you didn't mention it, but there is a community that exists. Right,
There's a
boutique
community.
hotel, right?
Okay, yeah, I'll plug it. There is a
Yeah,
community, Boutique
we got to
Hotel
put it.
Secrets. I am one of the creators of the community and a coach, and we're continuing to refine it. We've got 40 people in it right now, maybe something like that.
I think
Um,
there's 90 in the school, if you can believe it. Like I feel like
okay,
every week, like 5 to 7
I
people are
see like who I
joining, and
see, you know what I mean?
yeah,
And
totally,
then
totally.
moving forward from that, though, yeah, it's just going to get better and better in 26 with some of the things that we have planned for the community, and making this transition to this hospitality product super clear and tangible for people.
That's amazing. And if
Love it.
people want to DM you or follow you, where again can they reach out and find more Professor Oswalt's info?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I Instagram. You can hit me on Instagram. It is Isaac Oswalt. It's just my name. It's spelled with two Isaac spelled with two A's. Unlike 98% of the people I've met that try to misspell it. So no, no heartburn there for the last 45 years.
No, no, no,
No,
entire life.
no, no. So yeah, happy to communicate and chat and help out any kind of way. It's a privilege to be able to take some of the past and experience, and honestly some of the things I did well, some of the things that I learned from that I didn't do great, and apply it to others, and move forward from there, because it is a journey. But I thoroughly love the coaching aspect and supporting role to help people do this.
Love it.
You're incredible at it, man, and I always enjoy joining your calls again. Rashmi, Queen of Operations, goals there talking strategic acquisitions, creative acquisitions, so multiple calls per week plus office
Mhm.
hours, one-on-one. I mean, other students. So we're just learning a ton every single week. So again, thanks for everything that you do and all the coaches do. Micah, before we get out of here, you're headed somewhere this weekend, though. Before we even BHS
Yeah,
up in Boston, you're getting out of West Virginia. Is that true?
that is exactly right. I get a chance to leave the great state of West Virginia.
That's like your goal every week, I feel like.
That is that's goal number one on Sunday. Leave West Virginia. No shade to West Virginia. Beautiful state, but I do enjoy going other places as well. So yeah, I'm going to LA this weekend for a private money raising conference. So very excited to be there. I think there might even be an opportunity for me to pitch our deal in a sort of competition. I'm really excited because they're guaranteeing at least $100,000 raised, or they'll give you a year-long subscription of their private capital raising education subscription, I guess you can call it. That way they can teach you how they raise money. And this is from some heavy hitters in the game. So very excited to be there. Very excited to talk more about our hotel deal, just because I don't think I can ever get tired of talking about it. And really just see how some of the pros raise money. So that may help for this deal. It'll definitely help for deal number two as well. So excited to get to some warmer weather and definitely see what they're offering.
I gotta put my coach head on again real quick before we jump off here, but I meant to say this to you earlier. So Coach Michael Burt, you guys know what I'm talking about?
Mhm.
Um,
Yep.
really good dude. Saw him again last week, Chicago. Just a stud. He has one quality, as many. He has one quality that I thoroughly respect, and like am consciously working on doing it. Is when you talk to Michael Burt, it's like nothing else exists.
Mm,
It is invaluable skill and determined laser. Nothing else is going. There's no phones or no this. I don't care if the Starbucks person told me my drink's ready. It is, and I want to share that with you. I think it's just an amazing quality to have as a human being. Obviously, it can help with raising capital, but it's just an amazing thing to be as a human being. To have someone feel that seen and that heard is, and I would encourage you to kind of think about that when you go to LA and get out of West Virginia, which you kind of lied about that a little bit, I think. But we'll save West Virginia. We'll save it. It is a cool place, but Mike is out.
Out. I'm out.
I
And
love
for
it.
that
All
reason,
right. Well, you
but that no, that's great. I mean, definitely a gym, and I mean, you kind of hit the nail on the head. You get somebody who's very valuable, can give you a wealth of knowledge. You need to treat it like nothing else matters, because you could miss something that honestly could cost you millions, so to speak. So love that. Definitely love that.
Just
Yeah,
any human. Right?
for
What a
sure.
what a
yep.
what a fantastic quality,
What a
right? So
gift. to be present. No, I love that, man. And yeah, I'm super sad and jealous. I got some serious FOMO going because my wife's just coming back from Vietnam, so I won't make the trip. So Micah and I are dividing and conquering. So he's going to meet, one of my somebody that I look up to solely. Lattes and Leases. They're under contract on their second boutique hotel, so I believe she's partnering with Amy and some others to put on this event. So again, I'm super excited to see what you learn, see if we can raise some capital, see if we got some new friends, right, to walk out of there. So
Sure.
anyways, enjoy LA this next weekend. Isaac, thanks again for joining us. And we'll see you fellas soon. 2 weeks. We're going to be together in Boston. I can't wait.
Appreciate it, boys.
All right. That's the pod. Thanks for tuning in, everyone.